This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 10th day of May in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Mansour Nadir, today blocked an opposition motion which sought leave from the National Assembly to discuss the recent High Court ruling against the Environmental Protection Agency and the ExxonMobil company. The motion was filed by opposition member Ganesh Mahipal. The Speaker said he could not allow the issue to be discussed in the Assembly, since the matter is still before the courts, and to discuss it would be sub judice. Last week, the High Court ruled the Environmental Protection Agency needed to enforce provisions in the petroleum permit to get the oil company to provide unlimited parent company guarantee to protect the country and its people in the event of an oil spill. The Environmental Protection Agency has since appealed the ruling. In addressing the National Assembly on the matter, the Speaker explained that he received a correspondence from the opposition Member of Parliament last evening, seeking leave to move the motion for the adjournment of the Assembly to allow for a debate on the ruling. But the Speaker said he had also received a news alert that the EPA had filed an appeal in the matter, and therefore it was still before the courts.
I've subsequently received the filings this morning that the EPA did move to court on Monday. So this matter is now in the courts and we won't be able to deal with it.
An attempt by the opposition Member of Parliament Mahipal to seek clarification on the Speaker's decision was ignored, with the Speaker ordering the clerk to proceed with the day's agenda, even as the opposition MP was attempting to seek clarification. In the motion, Member of Parliament Mahipal highlighted that the High Court sought to enforce Clause 14, financial assurance and liability for pollution damages, in the Liza production project based on the environmental permit issued. It was the intention of the MP to have the Assembly call on the Attorney General Anand Lal to act within the best interests of the people of Guyana by ensuring that the country and its people are protected from any potential oil spill disasters in accordance with the Constitution. Mr. Mahipal was also hoping to have the Assembly call on the Executive to honor the decision of Justice Sandil Kisun. He told News Source that the position taken by the Speaker today left a whole lot to be desired.
But shocking today was the man just said that the thing is sub judice, full stop, and he didn't entertain any form of presentation from our side to seek redress or to at least seek clarification, because his most recent ruling before this one had to do with the matters of the suspension of the MPs, and the coalition took a court case and filed it in the High Court for that matter, the suspension of the MPs, and the Speaker ruled that because no date of the hearing was given nor no judge was assigned to it, that it was not sub judice, and he allowed Gail Teixeira to proceed. It is the same thing here today. We have a motion. Yes, there's an appeal filed by the EPA and their lawyer Sanjeev Datarin, but no date was given for a hearing and no judge was assigned to the case. So I found it very, very strange. This just goes to show that the Speaker is unpatriotic and biased.
Mr. Mahipal also said the ruling of the High Court seeks to safeguard Guyana in the event of an oil spill and ought to have been accepted by the EPA and the government.
What this motion simply seeks to do is for them to adhere to Justice Sandil Kisun's ruling. And all that the Guyanese people want from ExxonMobil is a signed document to say that in the event there should be something bad, like an oil spill, that they will cover it in full. That's all. It is not going to cost ExxonMobil anything, nor their subsidiary company. And that is the simpleness of this entire process. What the Guyanese people need is assurance that they don't have to be bothered or worried, or their country would not be in debt in any way, shape, or form should there be an oil spill. It's just to protect the people of Guyana. It's just to protect the country of Guyana. And I don't understand why this big hullabaloo on such a simple request.
In its appeal, the Environmental Protection Agency expressed concern about the impact the ruling could have on the country's economy. The EPA is arguing in its appeal that the orders could have severe consequences. The Environmental Protection Agency also submitted that Guyana's unprecedented economic growth is in large part due to the exploitation of the petroleum reserve. The environmental body emphasized that any cancellation of the petroleum permit could negatively impact the nation's economy. The opposition has lambasted the government for appealing the ruling of the High Court.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Oh my lord. I just love to shop in this store. My customers, them gonna love all these things. So many different things in one place. Household items, electronics, toys, stationery, confectionery, exercise equipment, shoes and clothes for men, women and children, school things, costume, jewelry, perfume, makeup. Oh, look the makeup.
Giftland Office Max, Guyana's favorite department store.
Ignite! A new flavor of Sunshine Snacks Zumas made for the pepper lover in you. Caution! Look for the Ignite flames on your favorite packs of Sunshine Snacks and get ready to handle the heat.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that my crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
Strong and solid in countries far and wide. New India Assurance, we're standing by your side. Golden service, half a century and more. New India Assurance, our policies are secure. From the heart of India, we serve these islands. The strength that you can trust, you're safe when you come to us.
New India Assurance Company. Assurance when you need it most.
For your home, motor or business insurance, visit New India Guyana office, 58 Brickdam next to Star Computers. Telephone 226-0415-7. Comfortable parking available.
Head back to the National Assembly, where a motion which was piloted by opposition Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal to get the clerk and the Speaker of the Assembly to act more swiftly with submitted motions caused a furore today between members of the government and the opposition. Mr. Mahipal's motion sought to amend Standing Order Number 22 to provide a timeline of 4 days for the Clerk of the National Assembly and 4 days for the Speaker to make a determination on questions and motions so that they can be placed on the order paper in a timely manner and be brought to the House for consideration. Mr. Mahipal in his motion also requested that Standing Order Number 27-2 be amended to read that if the Speaker is of the opinion that any notice of motion which has been received by the Clerk of the Assembly infringes on the provisions of any standing order or is in any other way out of order, he or she may within 4 days direct that the member concerned be informed that a notice of motion is out of order, or that a notice of motion be entered in the order book with such alterations as he or she may direct. The government made clear its non-support of the motion, with Government Member of Parliament Sanjeev Tatadin telling the Assembly that the motion infringes on the duties of both the Speaker and the Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the imposition of 4 days is really and truly an attempt at corruption masquerading as transparency. That is what it is. Make no mistake, an aggressive timeline like 4 days is intended to put pressure on the decision maker, is intended to influence and intimidate the decision maker, and should never be countenanced in this House.
But in supporting the motion, opposition member of parliament Annette Ferguson said the situation at present cannot be allowed to continue. She explained that when opposition members submit motions or questions for reply, they find themselves waiting several months for that reply. Ferguson said taking the motion on board would result in more transparency and a better functioning parliament.
We should not use this motion for political and politicking, but for the benefit will derive. I just fix your business, right? But for the benefits it will derive for all of us as legislators.
Also supporting the motion was leader of the Alliance for Change, Kemraj Ramjatan, who said that it was necessary to insert a deadline period. Ramjatan said while the Speaker has constitutional protection, the people of Guyana must not be forced to wait until the Speaker is ready to apply his mind for answers.
In this case, where we are asking via Mr. Mahipal through this motion that it be done in a 4-day period after you have gotten it as to whether it's disqualified or not, is fundamental because there can't be any delays or any uncertainties, because in 4 days you would have made a ruling. If indeed it is disqualified, it is disqualified.
The Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Gail Teixeira, defended the government's non-support of the motion. She said while the business of the House is urgent, members cannot dictate a timeline for the Speaker.
And so even though people have put questions down in this Parliament, you have to wait for your order to come out. That is not the government doing. That is a procedural point in the Parliament.
In closing the debate, Mr. Mahipal said the non-support by the government is not surprising, since he believes the same government has been leading the charge to stymie the work of the National Assembly. The government used its majority and the supporting vote of the Joinder List representative Dr. Asha Kissoon to kill the motion. The National Assembly has unanimously passed the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Amendment Bill, which will now see the use of electric bikes being governed under the same legislative regime as cars, motorcycles, and other categories of vehicles. Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Bent told the National Assembly that last year alone there were 7 fatal accidents involving electric bikes. He said it is becoming an increasing feature on the country's roadways.
Last year, there were 7 electric motorcycles related fatalities in the data. We have had a few already this year.
The Home Affairs Minister also said the government will have to take a hard look at the wide variety of electric bikes that exist on the country's roads, adding that the administration is cognizant that other road users are concerned about the increasing number of electric bikes on the roadways, and they are of the view that they are unsafe.
We are, of course, continue to be concerned about the fact that the motorcyclists, too many of them, present the largest number of fatalities on the roads, and it's related not simply to speeding and poor usage of the roads, but the lack of the use of helmets.
Ben also told the National Assembly that last year there was a total of 22,696 vehicles on the country's roadways. He said another 7,300 vehicles have already been registered for this year alone, including cars and motorcycles. With the increasing number of vehicles on the country's roads, the minister said the government is working with the Guyana Police Force to improve safety and reduce deaths and injuries on the corridors of the roadways. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal expressed concern about the reckless use of the country's roads and the need to regulate the use of electric bikes.
That we have had on our roadways for a number of years now, these electric cycles, and they have begun to pose a problem because our legal legislative architecture does not in its current form caters for them. And there is no way to regulate them, there is no way to bring them within any form of regulatory framework other than by this amendment. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, we are here. We are here also, Mr. Speaker, in recognition of the fact that we are losing too many of our citizens on the roadways of our country.
Meanwhile, APNU AFC Member of Parliament Gita Chandan Edmond, in offering her support, said the bill was born out of the need for public safety. She said too that it would allow for ownership to be established.
These e-bikes can be tracked for law enforcement purposes and importantly for the assessment of taxes. Cars, vans, buses, trucks, motorcycles, tractors, excavators, trailers, bulldozers, etc. are subject to the provisions of this regime under the Act. So there is no reason why e-bikes should not join the list. We on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, believe that this amendment is necessary and we see absolutely no need to railroad this process.
The opposition MP explained also that the amendment essentially activates a requirement for license to be issued to operate and use an electric bike.
What is local government? Local government is the system of locally elected members representing their communities and making decisions on their behalf. Local factors such as geography, the environment, economic opportunities, and health can be better taken account of by local governments charged with making decisions that affect their communities. These decisions can relate to the effective and efficient provision of services to meet community needs, to the regulation of certain functions, to facilitation of local activities, and to pursue community goals. In making these decisions, councils have to report to their communities in a clear and accountable way. Local authorities cannot achieve their objectives alone. They work closely with central government and with other organizations, public bodies, businesses, and citizens. Once elected, local governments are empowered to serve the people who live within the municipality or neighborhood democratic council and constituencies to which they were elected. Monday, June 12, 2023 is Local Government Elections Day. For further information, contact GCOM or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Purple Arts Productions presents a treat for My Mother's 6 on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 14th at the National Cultural Center. Beverly Smith, Mosa Telford, Leona Walton, Paul Budno, Nikhil Sankar, and others. Compliments of Hello City, Munishwars, Elsie Pasad Muraj and Sons, Sunflower Jewelry, Kissoon's Furniture Store, Survivor Shopping Complex, NDNS Furniture Store, 8 p.m. sharp. Tickets $25 and $2,000. Directed by Simone Dowdy.
A post-mortem examination was conducted this morning on the body of popular high school teacher and theatre actor Kerwin Mars by the government pathologist Dr. Nihal Singh. The pathologist listed the cause of death as crushing injuries to the chest, which were compounded by other wounds. The pathologist also found 8 stab wounds on the body of Sir Mars, as he was popularly known. Stab wounds were found to the left side of his chest, his right shoulder, upper left collarbone, left hand, and right elbow. The body has since been handed over to relatives for funeral arrangements. The results of the post-mortem examination came moments after the police this morning released a photograph and details about the suspect in the case, which is being treated as a homicide. The suspect has been identified by law enforcement as 24-year-old Brian Richards, the man seen here. A police statement said that he lives in the John Finance squatting area and has been cooperating with the investigators. He was taken back to the scene of the crime this morning. The police also released photographs from surveillance video recordings of the suspect and Sir Mars, hours before the Sunday night incident that left the teacher dead. The two were seen arriving together at the Green City Bar on Durban Street here in Georgetown on Sunday afternoon at around 5:30 p.m. They were again observed leaving the bar together at around 9 p.m. The murder took place less than an hour later in the Perseverance area behind Providence on the east bank of the Marara. The police suspect that as Sir Mars was driving to his Mocha Arcadia home with the man in the car, the two got into a confrontation that became violent. An eyewitness in the area recalled hearing the commotion and later seeing a bloodied Sir Mars hopping out of the vehicle and going to the back of it. It was while he was at the back of the vehicle and that it suddenly reversed, pinning him and crushing him against a concrete fence. The suspect, according to the eyewitness, was seen in a bloodied state running away from the scene. Sir Mars had previously complained to close friends about dating someone who had repeatedly threatened to take his life by stabbing him. The suspect, who was arrested on Tuesday, has been questioned by the investigators about the incident and the details surrounding the cause of the violent attack that broke out in the car. He's expected in court before the end of this week. Well, 2 months after he went on the run after allegedly setting a Hopetown cattle farmer on fire, on-the-naming laborer Kevin Suklal has been charged and remanded to jail for the crime. A police statement said he appeared in court today and was charged with the attempted murder of 51-year-old Trevor Blair. The incident took place on the 17th of February, but the accused was only nabbed by law enforcement this past Saturday. In court today, he was not required to enter a plea to the indictable charge. Earlier reports of the incident indicated that the Hopetown laborer was attacked and set alight by the accused after he had earlier assisted the police in removing a car that was burnt during a protest. The 51-year-old victim was burned severely to several parts of his body. The suspect was identified but managed to evade law enforcement for almost 3 months. He will remain behind bars until the case is called up again later this month.
Why you must vote at local government elections. Local government officials make decisions every day that affect the well-being of your life, the lives of your family and community. By voting for a voluntary group, political party or individual candidate of your choice, you will be electing the people who will make these very important decisions. If you don't vote, then you allow other people who do vote to choose local government officials without your input. Those others may not share your views about issues that matter to you. Voting also provides you with an opportunity to remind the elected government officials that they are accountable to you. Every eligible citizen has the right and responsibility to vote at local government elections. Monday, June 12, 2023 is Local Government Elections Day. For further information, contact GCOM on 225-0277-9, 226-6557, 223-9650 or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor at the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water, now available for only $120.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, the Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has announced that he intends to present a constitutional reform to have judges and magistrates elected by the people. He has lashed out against the local judiciary in Mexico in recent days after an electoral reform which would shrink the country's elections authority was partially struck down by the Supreme Court. Today, the president slammed the judiciary again as representing the interests of the country's conservative bloc. The day before, he called them rotten and without remedy. The constitutional reform, which will require approval in Congress by a two-thirds majority, will end the control of those at the top once and for all, so that the people of Mexico would rule and govern, the president said at a news conference. His party does not currently have the votes needed to pass any constitutional reform. Dutch St. Martin and French St. Martin share an island in the Caribbean with both sides separated by a border, which has been at the center of a dispute regarding its location. It has finally been settled after 9 years as to where the border lies. The Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylveria Jacobs, says since the end of 2022 reports have been in the media from both Kingston level as well as from the side of the France that an agreement had been reached on the location of the border between St. Martin and St. Martin. The public discussions were deemed premature, he said, as proposals had not yet gone through the proper channels of approval. The approval process was finalized between both states in March of this year, and the Prime Minister said he found it prudent to wait until all documentation and steps were finalized before making any public statements. He said he will sign a treaty in St. Martin on the 26th of May on behalf of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The Minister of Interior, Gerard Darmanin, will sign on behalf of the State of France. And finally tonight, international news. Prices for milk, airline tickets and new cars fell in the US last month, helping drive inflation to its lowest rate in 2 years. Inflation, the pace at which prices rise, was 4.9% in the 12 months to April, official figures show. That was down from 5% in March and marks the 10th month in a row that price rises have slowed. The fall comes after the U.S. Central Bank has sharply raised interest rates to try to control inflation. Inflation in the U.S. peaked last month at 9.1%, the highest it has been since 1981. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.